Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of Highly Talkative, where we get high in conversation and discuss many topics from personal to community to anything that's going on in the world. So sit back, get cozy, and let me talk to you. Let's go. All right, my good people, what is up? Today is Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, and we got a little bit of catching up to do. Okay, so I want to update you guys a little bit on my healing journey. It's been pretty okay. Um, I had an appointment last week for a doctor to check like my scarring and like how everything else is going around it. And everything looks good. I'm healing up pretty well. The scar is supposedly supposed to be unnoticeable by the time like I'm fully healed. So that's great because when summertime comes around, I'm trying to be summertime fine in somebody's bathing suit. And I mean, like, I'm not going to say I don't care about the scar, but not being able to notice that I had a C-section would be great. Um, so that's like a plus. And then during my visit with the doctor, I was also just basically asking about like when I could start driving and, lifting car seats and all this other stuff because I mean, I think it's just getting to the point where even though I'm not even like 2 weeks postpartum, the help there is starting to get like not stagnant, but I think they're kind of like getting tired of helping me out. So, um, yeah, that's just something that I'm kind of looking forward to doing without like straining myself or opening up a wound or just like putting myself back in the hospital by doing too much. So the good news is that like I was told I can start driving as long as like if I have to emergency brake, it's not making me feel uncomfortable or like putting a lot of pressure on my wound. So that's a plus for me. And then another thing with that is how my daughter does in her car seat. She does not like the car seat in the car while I was having people like drive me around to appointments and stuff. She was just like hollering. She does not like the car seat. So luckily I was able to sit back there with her. But this kind of just like factors into like kind of what I was saying from the beginning, which is I don't like really asking for help because I know there's going to become a point in time where people are like, I love the support, but I think at like some point they're going to get tired of supporting me because they're going to realize how much it really takes and how much my kids really do and how much I'm really going to need. So I think at some point I'm starting to feel like a burden. And like I said, I'm not even 2 weeks out, but I'm starting to feel more like a burden than people actually wanting to help me. I think like at first it sounded good being able to help me, and then you realize how much help I actually need. And it's more like, okay, let me go help her instead of, yeah, girl, I got you. Like even with like my dad, he's like, she's just gonna have to get used to it and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but we're not even 2 weeks out right now. Like I'm not even fully healed. She's used to somebody being in the back seat with her because I mean that's how it was, especially when she started hollering at the top of her lungs. Somebody's back there to be able to help her kind of like cope with things, or like she's just hungry, so she needs to be fed. So yesterday was like the first experience I had with driving alone with her and my youngest son. I took him to football camp, and Lord, it was just stressful because it was like right up the street. It's like a 5 minute drive, but she literally cried the entire way there, the entire way home. We had to stop at my sister's house because my sister made dinner for us, and she literally just hollered the entire time. She basically like cried herself to sleep. Um, so that was just rough on me. It kind of like gave me the blues. So I'm just trying to really figure out what works best for her when she's in the car and we're driving, and it doesn't help because nothing really soothes her because she doesn't really take a passy. Like I'll try to give her a passy and she like takes it to an extent, but for the most part, like she's not really fucking with the passy. She doesn't really care for it. So, yeah, right now, car rides are tough for me. If anything is stressful within this journey, it's definitely that, and just becoming more independent during my like postpartum recovery. I did initially ask, for like 6 weeks worth of help, and I guess like it sounded good then, but then realizing how much work it is, people are just like, I'm kind of gonna like fall back a little bit. So that just puts me, more in the mom mode and just like figuring it out and figuring out like what works best for us. Um, we usually wake up around like 6:40 to get my youngest son ready for school and then get him out the door and stuff like that. But this morning we woke up at 6 o'clock. That kind of like gave me enough time to do like a 30-minute, maybe like 40-minute feeding. And then I jumped in the shower real quick and I was still able to get him to school on time. She did cry, like I said, but for the most part, like she kind of calmed herself down and just like went to sleep eventually. I rewarded myself with Dutch Bros because, again, like I said, it was just hard for me to kind of like deal with in an aspect, but I was really proud of myself because at the end of the day, like I got up when I said I was gonna get up. I fed my girl. We got in the car. We got him to school. We got him to school on time. So I just take my wins as I can, to be completely honest with you. So right now we're kind of like in between school drop offs. So she's sleeping right now. I'm hoping that by the time we have to head out to take my oldest to school, she's still kind of asleep. And then hopefully by the time we drop him off, I can kind of feed her in the car and then maybe run some more errands just to get her used to being in the car seat because I mean, let's be for real, I think it's just gonna be like this the rest of the time. I mean, the 6 weeks worth of help would have been great, but at the end of the day, like I'll take what I can. It is what it is. I don't want to let it stress me out because I mean, like, what more can I do? I kind of want to circle back on football camp. Football camp was actually a really great turnout. There was a lot of kids there, and there were a lot of kids that came back from the previous season for our team as well. So that's really exciting. My son, excuse me, if y'all hear that, that's me mixing up the Dutch Bros because, like I said, I deserved it for this morning. Okay, I'm rewarding myself, and I still haven't got myself a push gift yet, but I'm trying to wait to really see like what I really want. And yes, that's right. You guys heard me. I'm getting my own push gift because I'm a boss bitch and I don't need no man to do that for me. I mean, it would be great, but you know, considering the circumstances and whatever. Anyways, so there were a lot of kids out there. Like I said, a lot of our kids from our 7U team or our 8U team came back. So that was really exciting. They had a whole lot of fun. They played like tug of war and did footwork and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see what the season has in store for us. And we even had a few girls come out for the camp as well because we're incorporating a girls flag football team with the organization. So it was really good to see like the girls out there and like holding their own with the boys and doing tug of war and like everybody just had a really good time and you could tell like everybody excuse me, everybody felt welcoming and welcomed in the girls as well, to the point where by the time camp was over with, we had parents like asking, how do we sign them up for the actual season and this, that, and the third. Now, don't get me wrong, it would be so dope if we could get some of the flag girls on our team because they were so strong and like so confident. But I also would not mind going to see those girls play in their flag football games because, like I said, it was a really, really good turnout. Um, So that's where I'm kind of standing with all of that. Now, um, I'm coming to the conclusion that when it's like with my kids and their gaming, I usually am pretty lax with them being on their games, but I'm just noticing like these bad habits that they're coming up with or like that are coming about, and I'm not fucking with it at all. Like I'll ask them to do something and it's, oh mom, I'm in the middle of a game, I can't pause it. Or I'll tell them to come here and it's like I'll call their name, they'll say yes, and then I'll tell them to come here and then they act like they can't hear me because they're on the game. So I have to call them like a couple more times and then all of a sudden they can come because now I'm frustrated and I'm basically like cursing them out because why the fuck did you not come when I told you to come? So I'm thinking I'm only gonna let them play the game maybe 2 or 3 times out of the week, just depending on how school and like reports are going. I'm thinking Mondays are automatically off the table because let's be for real, they play the game all weekend as it is. So Mondays are probably going to be off the table. I'll probably let them play like Tuesdays and Fridays for sure, but the days in between that, I'm not 100%. Um, the our schedules are also going to become a little bit more busy because I'm about to put them in track just for training, not for competing. Although I would really want them to compete, it's just a lot on me. And then like having a newborn, I hate missing them compete. It's gonna be too fucking hot in the summertime for us to be out there. So training is really what I need from them right now. They need to get their speed back up. They're packing weight. So yeah, I got to be more proactive with them. And then they have like football camps and all this other stuff. So hopefully, like that helps take the place of them wanting to be on the game so much, especially because, like I said, it's just, I don't feel like they need to be on that game as much as they are on the game. And then the grades aren't terrible, but I'm also incorporating this new rule where if you bring a seat home, for every seat you bring home, I'm keeping the game for a week because school's not that hard. My kids are actually really smart. They just are lazy as hell when it comes to schooling and they really just don't apply themselves to an extent. And I mean, I think that's something that they kind of get for me because before I became more mature and like more into my adult phase, I used to do the same thing. Like even with sports, like I would realize that my bare minimum was just enough to get me by and, get me out the door or get me first place without even like having to try or getting me a B without even having to study. But recognizing now what I should have known then, I'm trying to instill that in my kids, which is actually try. Like if this is what you get from not trying, imagine what you can do when you really do try. So this is like a way of me not forcing them, but trying to get them to understand that factor. So gaming is a privilege. Like I said, it's not a necessity, it's a privilege. So for every C that gets brought home, or if I check your grades and I see that you have a C, and it's because like your grades are terrible, then the game is mine until that C comes back up. Or if it's a report card, that game is mine for at least a week or two, and you better be lucky it's not mine until the next report cards come out. So that's just kind of where I'm standing with that. I've also noticed that while having baby girl home, I'm a little bit more like not at wit's end, but I'm not taking a lot of shit. Like with my youngest, I used to just brush it off when I tell him to come here and he'd like take his sweet ass time, but now I'm just like, stop fucking playing with me. I said, come here, bring your ass here right now. Not when you want to, not when you feel like it. If I said come here, you come here. Um, yeah, so it's just a lot of changing and adapting that's going on in my household right now. And it's just, I think, for the better. I know it's going to take some time. Everything doesn't just switch overnight, but my kids are definitely starting to understand that I'm not in that kind of mood anymore. There's now like four of us in the household. One of them is a newborn, that's your little sister, and, I've been pretty lax for the most part, but it's time to step that shit back up. Because we're not getting any younger, and I'm not about to allow anything to stress me out, especially when I know they know how I am, and sometimes they just choose not to listen or abide by that. And, it's not fully their fault because sometimes I'm just to the point where I'm just like, man, whatever. I don't even have the energy to really fuss, talk, repeat, or whatever. But now, with being home with the third child, I'm really just like, okay, y'all, let's stop playing around. Let's do what I say, and let's really get this shit done. Um, I'll also say that my dad has been a big help with that, only because he'd been taking them to school for the last week now. So like he'd come in the mornings and kind of like not fuss at them, but he's a man of let's go. Like I want to be on time. I'm gonna drop you off on time. If I'm getting up, you better be ready. So, example, like my youngest, he would just walk at the pace of a fucking snail and it would piss me off. I would have to fuss at him, like literally raise my voice at him and threaten to take his stuff away for him to start moving faster. But now that my dad's in the picture, like helping me take the kids to and from school, or when he was helping me take the kids to and from school, Cole, like my son was moving at that pace, and my dad kind of got in his ass, like, listen, when I say let's go, that's what I mean. And I'm like, yeah, okay, see, like, I'm not the only one. When I tell you let's go, that's what the fuck I mean. Like, stop moving at your own pace, or I'm gonna start beating your ass, because that's so disrespectful. So that's been a help there. And then he's also been getting onto my oldest a lot, not in like a bad way, but like more in like a supportive, like, this is what your mom is sacrificing, this is what your mom is doing, and if you keep moving the way that you're moving, then we're all going to be at wits end. We're just going to wash our hands, and you're going to have to figure that shit out. And you would rather us really be on your ass than for us to not be on your ass, because when we stop like talking to you, then we really just don't care anymore. And whatever consequences come with your actions are just going to be the consequences that you're going to have to deal with. And if that's something that you want to do, then so be it. Go that route. But it's really nice to have people that care about you. And I know sometimes it feels like we're getting on you, or it's like you can't do anything right. But at the end of the day, we're telling you all this stuff to steer you down the right path, and not to make you feel like you can't do anything right, but to understand, like, okay, this is, kind of where I went wrong, or this is what I could do better. Let me pivot some and, figure it out in a different way. So, yeah, my week has been pretty all over the place. Thankfully, I have therapy today to kind of like digest everything and kind of like cope with it and figure out, all the ins and outs of my feelings, because, like I said, it's been a little stressful, but it's like nothing I can't handle. It's not like I'm depressed or anything. It's just like, okay, what the fuck? Like, where do we go from here? What do I need to do to make certain changes? Like, it's not just the kids that need to make changes, it's me as well. They follow what I do. They follow my lead. They are a reflection of me. So, what is it that I need to do to also assist with helping them do that? So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. Um, yeah, it's just it's been a pretty I don't know week. So hopefully, this week goes a little bit better, especially starting therapy on a Monday instead of like midweek. And then luckily, if I feel like I need more sessions, I can just reach out and say like, hey, this week isn't really going as I planned, or what have you. Can we please have another session sometime this week, just to kind of help me cope with things or figure things out more. So, boom. Now, switching the subject, I have like two other things I want to touch on. These episodes aren't going to be as long for right now, probably like 30 minutes max, just because I've mainly been focused on taking care of my girl. I am, trying to get another one of my businesses off the ground again. I used to make t-shirts and tumblers and backpacks and cups and stuff like that. And then I kind of like just really took a major halt on it. I kind of like just put it on the back burner. But with being on maternity leave and everything, I really want to pick that back up. I don't want to just sit in the house. I don't want to just sit in the house and be a mom. I kind of want to find myself again. So that's something that I'm probably going to dibble and dabble in a little bit this week. Just start making like little t-shirts or little onesies for my baby girl, and just kind of see how things work out. Okay, now my question for you guys, right? How often do you check your mail? In my head, I don't check my mail that often, because at the end of the day, I already know what the fuck is going to be in the mail. It ain't nothing but bills and junk mail, and I know how to pay my bills online. So I don't really need to go check the mail. But then there comes a point in time where like I'm remembering like, oh fuck, go check the mail, and then randomly there's something important in there, right? In my head, it's not a necessity for me to check the mail, because like I said, I already know what's coming. And then I get like this surprise where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that that was going to be in the mail, and it had been in the mail now for about a week and a half, and I only got a couple more days to respond to this. So, my question to y'all is, how often do you really check your mail? And do you already know what's coming in your mail, to the point where sometimes you check it daily, or you're like me and you're kind of just like, fuck that mail, I'll check it when I need to check it, or I'll check it when I want to check it, or I'll check it when I remember to check it. Um, I don't know if that's like a me thing, honestly, or if that's like an adult thing. And it's something that I'm going to try to get better at. Maybe checking the mail like every Thursday and Saturday or something. But honestly, for the mailbox to be like 4 houses down from me, I don't go check the mail. I don't even send my kids to check the mail. I don't know what it is in me. It's just a non factor. It's terrible. And then, lastly, for the people who are living in Texas, let's be so for real. For those that it applied to, I know that I've been seeing like in the news and stuff that starting on the 1st of April, they're going to put restrictions on SNAP where you can't buy like candy, soda, sugary drinks, or anything like that. So I'm wondering, right? What are y'all thought process when it comes to that? Like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Do you think that hinders some of those who do have SNAP, or do you think like it's not a big deal? Like, I know some parents, when their kids are having like class parties or whatever, they can use their SNAP benefits to buy like cupcakes or candy bags or juices or something like that to be able to take to the parties, or like, when they're having not barbecues, but like team bondings or whatever. In my head, it's not that big of a deal because I mean, we don't really need to be consuming a lot of candy anyways. Um, but like, if anything, my whole thing would be like on the drinks, because what, okay, yeah, soda, cool. Not too pressed about that. But like, what kind of drinks are you able to get from Snap now? And I know that sounds like a dumbass question, right? But in my head, I'm really like, okay, that kind of cancels out like Gatorades and Powerades and sports drinks and the Minute Maid juices and possibly Simply Lemonades. It's not like they have a list of examples of drinks that you can or cannot get. Excuse me, you're kind of really just winging it. So, my question to y'all is for those who do receive SNAP and with that new restriction that's coming with the no candy, no soda, no sugary drinks, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that's a good thing, like I said, or do you think that's a bad thing? Why or why not? Okay. And you guys can definitely submit your responses via email at highlytalkative@gmail.com. And I'll read those, and maybe in like a couple episodes or the next episode, I'll discuss like the responses that I received. Just like when I had asked about, is there such thing as being too independent? I did get a couple responses via email, and I think I'm going to go over those next week because those were some really good responses, and I did appreciate those who did answer back. Um, but yeah, so send your answers to the email, highlytalkative@gmail.com. I'll definitely read those. I might respond back, or I might just, answer or discuss what was submitted on the next podcast. Yeah, so, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. As always, I love the support and appreciate all of those who tune in and support, like, subscribe, and follow. You guys can follow me on Instagram at highly.talkative. You guys can follow me on Facebook at highly talkative. I'm also on all major streaming platforms: YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts. You can also find me on rss.com, Highly Talkative Podcast, and you can select the streaming network that you would love to stream my podcast from. I appreciate everything that you guys do. If you guys want to donate, there's also a donation link that's on RSS where you guys can donate any type of funds to assist with production or media. Um, yeah, you guys are amazing. The love is real. I send love back to you. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Don't let nobody fuck with you. Don't let nobody fuck your week up. And just remember, there's always a positive side to anything that happens. You guys have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.